Rylee Goodrich and Anthony Barajas were two young people who decided to go to the movies for their first date. During the film, Rylee sent a text to her mother, mentioning that the movie was a bit boring, but that she was enjoying her date because of Anthony's company. After that message, Rylee never texted her mother again. When the movie ended and the theater lights came on, an employee walked in to clean up and made a chilling discovery: the lifeless bodies of Rylee and Anthony. Rylee Goodrich was born and raised in Corona, California, a city with a population of just over 150,000. She was incredibly popular at school, not only because she was a cheerleader, but also because she played volleyball and had a wide circle of friends. Those who knew Rylee described her as a fun-loving, outgoing girl who made friends easily. After graduating high school, she earned a scholarship to Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona. Though she had moved for college, she made it a point to visit her family as often as she could. In late 2021, after completing her first year, Rylee returned to Corona for the holidays. On July 4th, Independence Day, her friends threw a big party. That night, she met a young man named Anthony Barajas, who was a year older than her. Anthony Michael Barajas was born on August 9th, 2001. He was the son of Brian and Catherine Barajas. From an early age, his family recognized that he had a special talent for communication. He could strike up a conversation with anyone about almost any topic. His parents often said he had a level of maturity and confidence far beyond his years. At school, Anthony was known as an excellent student and a talented athlete. He played soccer regularly and practiced martial arts. Beyond academics and sports, Anthony had built a significant following on TikTok. He created his account in 2019, posting comedic videos that quickly gained traction. Within 2 years, he had nearly 1 million followers. He was also quite active on Instagram, where he shared snapshots of his daily life. Though he wasn't entirely sure what he wanted to do in the future, he considered continuing as an internet personality, but sometimes thought about pursuing something different. At the 4th of July party, Rylee and Anthony spent a lot of time talking and instantly clicked. They exchanged numbers and continued chatting in the following days. As they got to know each other, they decided to go on a date. Even though Rylee was over 18, she wanted her parents to meet Anthony first and approve of the relationship. She was very close to her family, and their opinion meant the world to her. When her father first met Anthony, he wasn't immediately impressed, particularly because Anthony worked as an internet personality. However, as they spent more time together, Rylee's father changed his mind. He saw that Anthony was well-mannered, articulate, and had a good heart. Eventually, he gave his blessing. On July 26th, Rylee and Anthony planned a date at the Regal Edwards Theater in Corona to watch The Forever Purge. For those unfamiliar, this movie takes place in a dystopian world where, once a year, all crimes in the United States are legal for 12 hours. Before heading to the theater, the couple decided to grab a meal at Rylee's favorite restaurant, which was close to her house. They had no idea that this would be their last meal together. After dinner, they arrived at the movie theater around 9 p.m. The screening was set to begin at 9:30 p.m. and end close to midnight. It was a weekday, so the theater wasn't very crowded. Only 6 tickets had been sold for The Forever Purge, 2 of which belonged to Rylee and Anthony. The other 4 tickets had been purchased by a group of friends. Excited for their date, Rylee and Anthony settled into their seats as the movie started. A short while later, Rylee texted her mother to say that the movie was a bit dull, but that she was enjoying herself because of Anthony. After sending that message, Rylee never responded again. When the film ended, the theater lights came on. A theater employee walked in to clean up and noticed that Rylee and Anthony were still seated. At first, it seemed as if they had simply dozed off, but as he got closer, he realized something was terribly wrong. Both had suffered gunshot wounds to the head, and there was blood everywhere. Panicked, the employee alerted the staff, who immediately called 911. Paramedics and police arrived within minutes. Rylee was pronounced dead at the scene, but Anthony was still alive, though unconscious and in critical condition. He was rushed to the hospital and placed on life support. Authorities quickly notified their families. Investigators began piecing together what had happened. Rylee and Anthony had clearly been shot, but no weapon was found at the scene. Furthermore, there were no gunpowder residues on their hands, ruling out a murder-suicide. Another clue emerged. Rylee's wallet was missing, suggesting the killer had taken it. Typically, forensic teams would collect fingerprints and DNA to identify the suspect. However, this was nearly impossible in a movie theater due to the sheer volume of visitors. With thousands of potential fingerprints, detectives had to take a different approach. The police spoke with all theater employees and quickly learned that only 6 tickets had been sold for the screening. With Rylee and Anthony as 2 of those, only 4 other people could be potential suspects. Initially, investigators considered the possibility that all 4 were involved. After all, it seemed unlikely that anyone could fire 2 gunshots in a theater without others noticing. However, since The Forever Purge was an action-packed movie filled with loud gunfire, it was possible that the killer had used a noisy scene to mask the shots. Police sought more information about the 4 individuals. Since no IDs were required to buy tickets, they only had physical descriptions. 4 young men who appeared to be of Hispanic descent, attending the movie together. Soon, police received anonymous tips leading them to an address on Invoice Street in El Cerrito. There, they found a trailer belonging to Joseph Jimenez Jr. Officers searched the trailer and found a firearm along with Rylee's missing wallet. Joseph was arrested on the spot. Ballistics testing later confirmed that the gun was the same one used in the crime. When questioned, Joseph denied any involvement. Investigators also found that he had no prior criminal record. The other 3 men who had been at the theater were soon identified. They confirmed that Joseph was their friend but denied any involvement. According to them, Joseph had been acting strangely that day, talking to himself and mumbling incoherently. During the movie, Joseph told his friends he needed to use the restroom but instead went to his car to retrieve a gun. When he returned, he whispered that he had a weapon. Alarmed, his friends decided to leave the theater, too scared to confront him. With only Joseph, Rylee, and Anthony left in the theater, he walked up behind them and fired a fatal shot at the back of Rylee's head. Hearing the noise, Anthony turned and Joseph shot him in the eye. Joseph later claimed that he suffered from schizophrenia and that voices in his head had commanded him to kill. However, prosecutors argued that his actions, stealing Rylee's wallet and fleeing the scene, showed that he was fully aware of what he was doing. Anthony, who was an organ donor, passed away 5 days later on July 31st. In February 2024, Joseph Jimenez Jr. stood trial. The court ruled that, despite his mental illness, he was aware of his actions that night. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, ensuring that he would never harm anyone again. Please support me. Please subscribe my channel and hit the like button. Press the bell icon. Thanks for watching. Watch this video.